chaos as rival supporters resort to fist fight. And 3 churches had already declined to host the DP for Sunday service, but his Nyeri appointment pulled all the stops to ensure he worshipped in the sleepy Mbiriri village. And the results were ugly. Fists were thrown and insults hurled as supporters of the DP and those of President Kenyatta and Kenny MP Kanini Kega clashed outside the church. So DP Ruto and his Mount Kenya allies had been holding political talks in Nyeri since Friday, and the plan was to have him wind up his tour of Central Kenya region by attending a Sunday church service and addressing supporters in Kieni. But that turned into a fist fight. Okay, still in politics, embrace other parties, Kiunjuri says to DP Ruto. The Service Party leader, that is Mwangi Kiunjuri, has urged Deputy President William Ruto to embrace other parties and individuals' interest if he intends to win the Mount Kenya bloc in the next general election. Now, Kiunjuri says that he warned that it's too early to assume that one has won the vote-rich region, adding that the best strategy to apply for now is to gather leaders and political parties from the region. And he said that they were not ready to fold their individual political parties to join the UDA. So that is what's happening there. Again, brace for battle, second in command told as Raila shakes off a Mganga tag. Orange leaders urge One Kenya Alliance principles to back the former Prime Minister's presidential bid. In a apparent reference, Raila said that reference to Deputy President William Ruto and his allies who have been referring to him as a Mganga or sorcerer in the past. The former Prime Minister yesterday said that had he not been a Christian, he would not have overcome all the challenges he has faced in life, including detention without trial. So he's trying to shed off that tag of Mganga. Regina, that is a word that we are used to since 2013 elections. And now he's out to say he's not. He's a Christian. All right? Staggered terms for IEBC chiefs. Pundits say that staggered terms are best practice and ensure transfer of knowledge and institutional memory. The appointment of 4 electoral commissioners last week paves way for staggered terms for the poll chiefs, the first of its kind in the management of elections in Kenya. And now, last week, Francis Wanderi, Juliana Cherera, Irene Masit, and Justice Nyangaya were sworn into office to complete the 7-member team that will man the IEBC. Now, the 4 commissioners will serve a 6-year non-renewable term ending September 2nd, 2027. That is on the as far as the IEBC is concerned. Regina, 400,000 face starvation at the coast. This is something that we can never talk about. 130,000 people in Kwale, 78,000 people in Tana River, 21,000 people in Lamu. Up to 50% of households in Lamu lack food, with the Lamu East being worst hit. And we have got pictures there of, women going to the river to fetch water. And it's quite ironical, Regina, that Lamu and the coastal region lack proper water supply. This is an irony on its own. Regina?
Now, this is also goes to what have we done, in light of climate change, because this is something that we cannot run away from. It is not a situation that is only unique to Kenya, but the whole globe is, reacting to the issues of climate change, but what has been done on ground. Yeah. And talking about what is happening as far as, the ravages of drought in the coastal region, the issue about, farmers around the Tana Delta, because this also falls, on the coastal line here, is now they're also embracing initiative. There's a Delta Green initiative that is, targeting these farmers along this region so that we ensure food security, because over-reliance on rain-fed agriculture is what is leading to these situations in light of even climate change. If we embraced, mechanized agriculture as well as irrigation, then a little bit this would ease would ease this over-reliance on when are we having the long rains, when are the short rains coming, and if they delay, the weather patterns change for one reason or another. And remember, talking about climate change, we find ourselves at the mercy of the rains there. So now there's a feature that has been highlighted. Just look at what is happening in Lamu, just about, you know, how big the Tana Delta is, the number of farmers that are there, and how they have come together to embrace mechanized agriculture as well as irrigation, just as a way of sustaining themselves in light of what is happening. And this is according to, or rather the feature itself is based on the Nature, that is Nature Kenya Tana Delta project. You can read about it, you can get your copy, read about it, how now people are, you know, getting out there and doing things differently for different results. And government needs to step in and look at the long-term effect, talking about having food rations and donations delivered to these people who are staring at starvation. But what next? What happens in the next months after? Have we put in place mechanisms to ensure that if the rains again delay, that these people are and can fend for themselves because they have a way, either their farms, they have water ponds and such. I think we need to look long term when you're talking about matters of climate change, because it's not likely to change. It is not likely to change. I want to take you back to matters politics. Victor there.
Yes.
We have had that narrative, as he said, that I am not I'm Ganga, as has been told over the years since 2013.
Yeah.
And many other unpalatable terms that we cannot mention here on national television. But the season is here, the slogans are there, and unfortunately we are also likely to see insults and propaganda. And the question I always pose to us as media personalities: what are you doing to debunk this propaganda, the negative propaganda? Is the media ready to tackle, you know, that decisively without bias? That's a question we need to look inwards and address it before we get to the general elections, and even as you're working towards the general elections. So yesterday, Raila Odinga, that is the leader of ODM, shared his agenda looking at 2022 and if he's elected president. He said that among the areas that he's going to be focusing on is affordable healthcare, education, and housing. Does that sound familiar? Well, that may be a rhetoric. Remember, we invite your views in regard to our particular broadcast. You want to give us your feedback, tell us where you're watching this particular broadcast from. So matters of housing, affordable healthcare, and education cited as some of ODM leader Raila Odinga's agenda and priorities as we work towards the general election 2022. And while Raila Odinga is out sharing his agenda, the Mountain has given a warning to Deputy President William Ruto. And the person speaking from the Mountain is none other than Kionjori. That is a Service Party leader, Mwangi Kionjori. And I want to quote this: "It is too early to say that you have scaled the mountain. The mountain is so high, and there is also ice up here, or rather there. The weather can be very rough, and therefore it is good to keep owing people, but don't think you have succeeded." Basically, Mwangi Kionjori is telling Ruto to watch out for the ice on Mount Kenya. There's been a conversation around, you know, the Hustler movement saying that, you know, he has scaled the mountain. And some 2-3 weeks, actually 2 months ago, when we were seeing the coronation of Justin Muturi there as the Speaker of Mount Kenya, and weeks later, we saw a split in the mountain, something that we have not witnessed in our political history, that now Mount Kenya is a voters' hunting ground. There comes the warning about you being careful that there's ice on the mountain. Victor.
Okay. There is ice up there. for all the politicians.
There's ice on the mountain.
It's called Batian Peak. So every politician must go there well armed because it's cold. All right?
Yes.
Okay, so as we talk about politics, let's talk about health, because without health there is no politics. But Regina, Kenyatta National Hospital and the Mbagathi Hospital in Nairobi will be the first to administer the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine, as healthcare staff set to administer the jab across the country get training. That is according to the Health Ministry. Now, Kenya received its first consignment of 141,600 doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines on Friday through the Africa Vaccine Acquisition Trust mechanism, and Nairobi expects to receive another batch of 248,000 doses this week. Dr. Andrew Mulwa, the Director for Medical Services in charge of preventive and promotive health, yesterday said that most of the J&J doses will be shipped to rural areas. So starting today, you can take yourself to go to KNH or Mbagathi Hospital and get vaccinated. Okay? And remember, as we said last week, it's not for sale. Don't be charged anything for a card, for registration, or something of that kind. Don't. Regina, I will tell you some story here. Have you ever been to Gikomba to do your shopping?
Definitely. Who hasn't been to Gikomba?
You don't look like you're going to Gikomba.
Oh, my friend, when it comes to going shopping in Gikomba, you dress the part.
You look like those ladies who go to the shops I know.
Well, we shop where we shop. It doesn't matter, but I have been to Gikomba, and you do not expect that I'm going to walk to Gikomba dressed the way I am.
Why?
That will not work. They will actually buy from me by force. They will take my shoes. They will take my watch.
But it's
you
one of the best.
dressed apart.
Yeah.
You dressed apart, and that's the truth. That is the open truth. You dress the part, you blend. You get in, get out with your goods.
Be like them.
But if you walk in
a suit,
you might actually be selling your suit. Yes, and you'll not be given an opportunity to actually set the price of your suit and shoes. Actually, that is the naked
They bargain.
truth.
Some people will bargain as you walk.
Yes, not even bargaining. They will say, by the hiyo kiatu ni yangu, inakaa size yangu. Ama hiyo tie mimi nataka. Now imagine what happens.
Yeah. So there's a story here. Why Mitumba battle, Gikomba losing out to new entrants. The reason being, buyers prefer smaller markets rather than going to Gikomba due to its chaotic nature. You are right. Due to its chaotic nature. So all the Luthuli Avenue, Fangano Street Junction is in Midtown Nairobi, dozens of matatus. We can all imagine that route going to Gikomba, Kamkunji Police Station, down there going to OTC, going to Machakos bus station. You remember that place going up to Gikomba? Okay, so most people prefer, if you're not used to, but it's an open market that almost everyone across East Africa is aware of, Gikomba market.
But how do you get there? You know, even getting there is a problem, leave alone shopping, getting to the market itself.
There are so many routes to getting to Gikomba. You can go
But it is so congested, so confused, you might end up losing your valuables going there, and you might actually even lose that shopping that you have just shopped. Less than 5 minutes. It's a maze, and I wish and I like what the NMS has been doing and trying to decongest the city and do some upgrade of some of the walkways and the pathways that we have been seeing. I totally wish that those are the areas that they would target. Now the next phase of the facelift of the city should be in those congested areas, Ronald and Gala down there, downtown. Downtown needs to be cleaned up, because if you can see where you're stepping, you will definitely see that person who is going for your purse. But if you can't see where you're stepping, you can't even, there's no wiggle room. You're all walking. Other people are stealing
we live in
from
Nairobi. We shop in Gikomba, and Gikomba is our business. Somebody selling me on my earpiece. Gikomba is our business.
Gikomba is their business. Well, it supports a lot of very many small, medium and enterprises, SMEs, so to speak. But we need to do something when it comes to planning. Yeah, we need to do something about planning, because it's a maze. It's a maze down there. And if you do not know the vichochoros, you will get lost.
You have to know the vichochoros down there.
Yes.
All right. So, as we talk about health, politics, and business, locals flee besieged village as bandits burn down 50 houses. Now, attack came barely a day after National Security Advisory Council met to review security situation. Tension is high in Oloo in Laikipia County, with villagers fleeing their homes following weekend attacks that saw armed bandits raze some 50 houses in Kisi Ndogo village. The attack came barely a day after the National Security Advisory Council held a meeting to review the security situation, and 2 days after Rift Valley Regional Coordinator, that is George Natembear, led top security officials from the region in a meeting with the locals at Oloo Township. That is something happening in Laikipia, and it's been happening for the last for the couple of weeks, and I think it's now high time a solution was found. Okay, so Regina, it's now time to take a break, but remember, we will be having that discussion and a conversation and entertainment for that matter with Japan Ambassador to Kenya, His Excellency Horie, who is already in studio with his entire team. Regina, if you cannot dance today, it's going to be a challenge to you.
Come on, you don't have to say that already. I'm already doing some research, a few words in Japan. I have worked with JICA, and their work ethic, what I know about the Japanese people, their work ethic is something to, look up to. They're timekeepers, and they're also perfectionists. I have worked with a couple of them. I know. So I have been trying to get a few words here and there. I don't know if I pronounce it correct.
Talk to me. I'll teach you.
Konnichiwa. On that note, we take a short break. When we're back, we're going to be looking at the stories that are making headlines